Hey friends. Um, I saw a t-shirt a little while ago, and on the front it said, procrastinate, panic, repeat. And it kind of made me laugh. And I was thinking back during my school years, which we won't talk about how long ago that was. It didn't occur to me to start projects and essays early because I felt like I had loads of time, and then life got busy and the deadline popped up and cue panic, and I was burning the midnight oil, something I have unfortunately passed on to my 18-year-old daughter. In my parenting years, when my kids were young, so I didn't sign them up on the first day of swim lessons were open for booking because I was like, do we want to do swimming or do we want to do kinder gym? And it took me so long to decide that swimming lessons would book up. It's like, seriously, trying to book kids for swimming lessons in my city was like the Hunger Games. So it's like swimming lessons would book up, and then it was kinder gym, and they hated kinder gym and they would much rather be swimming because Murphy's Law, right? And then there was my house. And I think the most often repeated phrase in my life was, I'll get to it later, right? But like later would turn into, holy Hannah, someone's coming over, so I better put like my Wonder Woman suit on because I'm now officially queen of the stash and dash. And I pray to goodness they don't look into any closet doors or under any beds, right? Because I would just cram things in. So like the appearance was that I had this beautifully organized house, but some closets you would open up and it'd feel like you're taking your life into your own hands. So when I look back on my life and I remember how stressed and exhausted and disconnected I was, I can see why. Because I think sometimes that we fool ourselves into thinking that those choices don't bother us because we've always been like that, right? So we feel fine. But do we really feel fine, or are we disconnecting ourselves from our feelings of overwhelm and avoiding wanting to make changes? So like, it's okay to say, I don't have the skill set, I don't know how to change. When I think about starting, I get overwhelmed and I shut down because like I've totally gone through that process. And so we make jokes about our procrastination, right? Because humor is easier to process than self-accountability. And I think that's why I found so much humor in that shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. But actually that used to be me. That's me sometimes, but that's not me all the time. And I think that's where the growth was. So a little while ago, my friend Bibi was sharing about her own decluttering journey in her sewing room. So this room had been like the heart of the hard stuff for her, both physically and emotionally. So she had conquered other areas in her home and they shone. Like literally, you need to see the bathrooms in this woman's apartment. They're amazing. They like truly sparkle. But her sewing room had so many emotional ties that it took longer and it required more energy. So that's harder to show up for, right? I mean, we've all been there. So not only does the physical energy tire us out, but so does the emotional energy. So just like the rest of us, when we're faced with something hard, we avoid it for a while. And then Bibi had this huge realization and she said, this needs to be done so I can set myself free. I was like, wow. Like just saying that now, I'm getting goosebumps again. This needs to be done so I can set myself free. That literally just stopped me in my tracks because we don't always realize the various ways that our stuff weighs us down until we're on the other side of it. So Bibi decided that she wanted freedom more than she wanted to hold on to the things. That's a huge step forward. And once you make that shift, it changes how you look at your stuff and how you look at your space. So I have a membership program called You're More Than Your Stuff. And I posed a question on one of my coaching calls to my group. And I said, why are you holding on to the things that are holding you back? That's pretty deep, right? And we had to take a deep dive into that. We had to take some time to explore that together because it does bring up a lot of emotions. But it's worth exploring why you're holding on to the things that weigh you down instead of giving yourself the gift of freedom, because you always have a choice. And remember that when you are making decisions about your stuff, even though that there's overwhelm and even though there's anxiety, they are not life and death decisions. So try and tackle it for 5 minutes at a time, 10 minutes at a time, and let me know how it's going.